So when I picked Mourad comes, he's a senior vice president, and he's been working in China. And when I go to China, China is not as encased in our structural paradigms as we are. Right? They don't necessarily ask about dirty data. They're like, let's get on with it, right? I think they're far more grounded in business problems and, how do we go faster? And, China is investing in robotics, we learned yesterday, at far faster than North America. So Mourad's been in China. He's the senior vice president since 2012. And he manages industrial activities, purchasing, manufacturing, logistics for the greater China region. And he's got a long history with Schneider Electric, but I'll let him tell you his story because it's far more interesting if he tells it than I do. Welcome Mourad to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you,
Laura, and it's a great honor for me to be here today, just kind of sharing with, I would say, all of you what was the experience of Schneider in this journey. And a lot of things that we have been hearing in the past 2 days are kind of resonating in what we are going to discuss about. So just maybe to start with, I would like to come back a little bit on what I'm going to talk today. So I will just give you a quick introduction about what is Schneider Electric, then speaking a bit about what is the supply chain in Schneider, and then jumping into, I would say, 2 major transformations that we went through. So the tailored supply chain 1.0, the tailored supply chain 2.0, and then giving a little bit, based on our discussions with Laura to prepare this seminar, giving a bit of flavor on a very practical way how it was deployed in one of our regions in Schneider. So first of all, an introduction about Schneider. What are we? We are basically the global specialist in energy management and automation. We have 26.6 billion euro of revenue. 5% of that being reinjected in R&D, which makes our, I would say, portfolio of new offers, our portfolio of new offers extremely active and also a challenge for our supply chain. We're talking about 160,000 people, half of those being in the supply chain, which is also another important element. Second is our repartition. So we're quite balanced, and between North America, Europe, and Asia, within 26–29%, and the rest of the world being representing 18%. In terms of supply chain, in terms of business, just a few markets. So we are in the data centers and network. We are in the building business, in infrastructure, and in industry. Again, building being a big part, a big chunk of our business. The other 3 businesses being relatively balanced also. So I'm going to skip this one and go a bit on the ecosystem and the way we are working. We have developed over the years partnerships with best-in-class, I would say, organizations, not to mention IBM, Microsoft, and other startups. We are leading global projects in the field of intelligent buildings, as well as renewable, solar farms, and things like that. We are also supporting the interoperability. We are funding startups in different areas of energy efficiency and eco-energy. And also, we have been recognized significantly in our, I would say, sustainability over the years. So superior transparency. We are also a guarantee of compliance and easy to access to the information related to the green premium products. Moving now a bit on what's the topic for today, which is the supply chain. A few numbers. So just going from the order management and order intake, sales order administration, we are dealing with 130,000 orders per day. We have 500,000 SKUs across the entire network. Around the world, 100+ distribution centers, 200+ factories with very various sizes. Factories from, I would say, 4,000 people all the way to very small entities with 40 or 50 people. And that is covering around 44 countries. And I would say not to forget, but our upstream flow coming from 45,000 suppliers or partners, the way we want to express with them, where we are buying about 12 billion euro. So as I was saying, so the supply chain is more than half of the company, so 90,000 employees working in this entire scope. So moving a bit on our supply chain vision. So our supply chain vision is really, I would say, focusing and driving customer satisfaction as a first lever and first priority. Second is we are mainly driven by the market. We are driven by the tailored approach towards our customers. So we really seen the supply chain as a competitive advantage, as a strategic advantage, and really embedded in our business as well as in our commercial organization. We have, and it was interesting the last discussion we had about technology, but we are really believing that technology is nothing without, I would say, competencies and the talent. And I will be also sharing with you some of the actions and the recognitions that the team has got over the past few years. We really embrace, I would say, permanent change, and continuous improvement as really part of our DNA. And the sustainability. So I would say the strategic objectives related to this vision. The number one aspect is about the service level and the customer satisfaction related to the quality of our offer. The second is really obtaining the right cost and the right level of productivity. Number three is on relation to the agility and limitation of our risk and ability to be resilient facing different issues, whether earthquake or shortages or things like that. Number four is about the optimization of our cash. And we will see how all these transformations have been contributing to this strategic intent. Just to stage a little bit, I would say the trends between 2015 and 2020, how we see, I would say, the key elements of the supply chain. One is supply chain is fully part of the business, as I was saying. And you will see it through the different slides that I'm going to share with you. It's definitely identified as a growth enabler. Second is digitization and innovation. That is absolutely a foundation for the supply chain transformation. The management of risk and resilience, we spoke about it. We know that shocks are getting transmitted much faster, and a problem in one side of the world gets a quick impact on the other side of the world. And the ability of supply chain is really to react to those shocks that are going to keep on repeating. Supply chain talent, and really a big dimension related to people, building the talent, building the technical competencies, the expertise. Supply chain is all about expertise, is all about, I would say, the people that we are putting in front of those challenges. So we'll see how we have been also investing a lot of time and focus on this area. Last one, sustainability of our supply chain network. So we really work with, I would say, a culture which is dedicated on sustainability. So back a little bit on the journey, and really here I'd like to share with you that there was nothing like, we decided yesterday and we put in place a few people and then we get the job done. No, it's really about the last several years, and coming a bit from 2005 and reflecting on how did we get where we are today. I think we really started focusing on the lean manufacturing and optimization of our footprint, industrial footprint, from the years 2005-2008 with the company program we called New 2. Then moving to the company program named One, Schneider Electric, we added the brick related to simplification. Then the last two company programs, Connect, which was really the idea of bringing collaboration, putting all the teams of Schneider together. We added this tailored supply chain dimension, really having the idea that one size cannot fit all, and really the idea of creating the intimacy between Schneider supply chain and our customers. And recently, 2 years ago, we started the second step of this transformation, moving toward the tailored supply chain 2.0, and I'm going to show you what has been that journey in the last, I would say, 2 to 3 years. So what is Schneider is on? Schneider is on is about 5 transformations, related to customers by doing more, simplifying everything we do, and I like the comments that was given just before this session, where we took everything we can and really address it in the way to try to digitize it, simplify it. The fourth dimension is related to innovation in our products, in our services, in our solutions. And the last one being related to people. Nothing else would be possible if we do not develop, I would say, strong teams and strong leadership there. So what was Tailored Supply Chain 1.0? What did we do there? The main, I would say, construction step of this Tailored Supply Chain 1.0 that took place from 2011 around 2014 was really the segmentation of our customers. And that's where we understood that while every customers, I would say, were served in the same way before that, we really had different needs. We went and met customers. We met distributors and met OEMs and met panel builders. And when we meet those guys, you really understand that their need is totally different. The distributor will not care so much about what is inside the box. He'd like to get a full pallet load. He gets, having a very clear delivery and precision delivery time, while a panel builder will like to get his product kitted, coming from factory A and coming from factory B and factory C, understanding his own planning and merging those elements at the right time, delivered at the right place in his factory. And this is how we came out with, I would say, the 10 segments of customers that we could see in the left of this slide, differentiating between distributors, consumers, partners, and end users. From there, I would say, injecting that inside our supply chain and designing the supply chain to fit the needs of those customers' buying behavior. And how did we tailor? We tailored from 3 aspects. One, the way we plan. Driving the sales inventory operational planning has a real platform where we would put together the sales, the marketing, the business unit, and the supply chain together. The second is the way we source and we make. So when we are producing for distributors, we will be more in the, I would say, lean type of activities, very heavy volumes, high velocity, while we are talking about, configured to order, totally different aspects, having late differentiations. And the last one is in the way we deliver, and we'll see how we developed and we designed solutions and services adapted to the different segments of our supply chain. Then to support, I would say, these 4 models in Tailored Supply Chain 1.0, we designed 6 axes of transformation. The first one being the customer process capabilities, and I will come back to that a bit later. Think about customer process capabilities being like a menu. You go into a restaurant and you have a kind of set menu given for a distributor, a set menu given for a panel builder, another set menu defined for an OEM. And there, those customers will be able to pre-select what do they need for their specific, I would say, interaction with Schneider. The second one being the SIOP. And SIOP, we really drove this process not being a supply chain process, but being a business process. Really giving the keys to the business teams, business unit, giving the keys also to the sales teams to create the platform where they would be able to somehow drive the supply chain. Define what level of inventory they want. Define what kind of reactivity they want from us. And I really believe that that was one of the very major achievements of the Tailored Supply Chain 1.0. And here we are not talking so much about tools. When we started Tailored Supply Chain 1.0, we had no tool. We were basically running Excels and spreadsheets and things like that. But that was not the purpose. The purpose was really a transformation. Third point was on the continuous work we did on the supply chain footprint, having the products produced in the right place towards the specific market. Then a lot of work preparing the field on IT systems, really working closely with our IPO organization. A big, I would say, preparation work during the tailored supply chain on the competences. trying to recruit outside where we had the, I would say, the gaps, the biggest gaps identified, driving significant training plans, organizing e-learning sessions all across, pushing, I would say, those transformations across the organization. Last one, performance management, and having really a view and a tracking of all the impacts of these tailored supply chain changes. So we spoke a lot about people, and I would say those slides were written a long time ago, and I really like all the discussions and the elements that were shared yesterday and today about that. Really the idea was on the how to drive this transformation was working really on 3 pillars. One is the organizational capabilities, making sure that we are integrating a global supply chain, having an end-to-the-end view of the supply chain, which was creating, I would say, a supply chain in 2013, putting all together the different bricks. Second is creating excellence centers in planning, excellence centers in network modeling, excellence centers in, I would say, industrialization. We acquired a lot of, I would say, external talent during this time frame, trying also to catch up with the abilities that were available on the market. And I would say developing the talent, the second brick, with what we call the Edison program. Edison program being really driving the competencies, driving the technology, learning around experts. A global supply chain academy, which has been extremely successful, having thousands of people going through these programs. And then managing our talent index, talent health index. And I would say one very important part of that was the diversity, gender balance, people coming from different horizons, people from business coming into supply chain also. And last one, leadership, by assessing about 100 leaders in 4 domains of the supply chain. And I would say driving the trainings and the coaching and the exposure towards those 100 leaders. Just to tell you that based on all these things, Schneider was recognized in 2015 by supply chain, by SCM World, as talent breakthrough, and was given an award on this program. So moving to, I would say, the results of tailored supply chain 1.0, before I will move to tailored supply chain 2.0. 3 major elements of results. First one, customer satisfaction. We've been able in that time, during 3 years, to move the customer satisfaction up by 13 points for the delivery improvements. We have been able also to reduce by 28% the very dissatisfied customers. We were able to increase the service level by 3 points during that period, up to 95.5%. We've been able to optimize our logistic network by starting, I would say, to integrate network modeling, and I will be speaking a little bit more about it and what does it mean. And we were able also to implement the first bricks of what we call the customer process capabilities. Second, in terms of cash, and I really believe that number is really impressive. In that period of time, we were able to remove about 500 million euro of inventory and reduce by 12 days the inventory levels within the supply chain. So in the meantime also, and we are measuring what we call the inventory health index, which not only take into account, I would say, the excess inventory, but also the missing inventory. So we are really trying to remove excess and replace it by the good inventory. So we were able to improve by 34% our health of stock. And last one, but not least, during that period of time, the team has been able also to generate about 1 billion of industrial productivity. So just to say that focusing on supply chain, focusing on customer is not, I would say, counter-intuitive to the productivity that we were able to generate at the same time. So I'm going to move now to, I would say, where we are now, tailored supply chain 2.0. And what does that mean? I would say tailored supply chain 2.0 has been really adding a few elements towards what we started a few years ago. We have really been integrating the speed inside our supply chain, driving the end-to-end lead time. And I will be able to share with you a few examples. And moving away from the idea of squeezing lead times here and lead times there, et cetera, and trying to step back and really understand the full process. While we were able to produce some of the very complicated offers with 4 days lead time, our customers were complaining. And we went to those customers and asked them what was going on. And this is where we discovered that our own process to take the orders from the customer was taking us 7 to 10 days. Why? Because there were validation of special price approval and specific financial validations, et cetera, et cetera. So on one side, you're squeezing to go from 4 days to 3 days, and on the other side, you are adding 7 to 10 days to your supply chain. And bringing this end-to-end lead time, working again with business, working again with customers themselves, helping them to digitize the way they place the orders to us, we were able to take out from the systems a lot of inefficiency. Improve the time to market, that is related to all the new offer creation, and a lot of things done also on that one in introducing the new offers, preparing the setup of the supply chain, managing the withdrawal of the old offers, and also creating what we called the special care units. And maybe here I pause a bit, but when we were working with a huge level of supply chain, you really have a very different type of offers. We are producing some product by the hundreds of millions a year. And to be honest with you, those are kind of bread and butter and running by themselves. But what we realized is that our customers were really complaining, not on those ones, but they were complaining on the long tail. And they were complaining about what did we do with the low runners and slow movers item? Why are not they available? And this is where we initiated the work on the special care units, redesigning the way we structured the supply chain model, the way we address those flows, putting the inventory in a different level, optimizing the overall supply chain. We continue to drive, I would say, the best-of-breed digital tools, and I will share with you what does that mean, with the idea that after having kicked off the transformation of SIOP, for example, we knew that it was time now to embark a tool to really become professional at driving SIOP. And that's how we started the plan of implementing Connexus. And I guess that today, Schneider is certainly one of the biggest partners of Connexus in that domain. So we have at least 4 regions which are already covered. We are extending step-by-step this coverage of planning tools. Enhance the supply chain transformation regarding the SIOP, network optimization, industrial footprint transformation, and also a new wave of customer process capabilities that I will share with you right now. So, moving from the tailored supply chain 1.0, which was really the initiation of this reflection, putting the customer at the center of our supply chain, creating the bricks, and frankly, kind of rewinding a little bit where we came from when we started this journey. To be honest, most of us inside the company, we were really kind of wondering where we were going. It was absolutely not like, we had that very clear vision and everything was smooth, etc. It was much more about experiencing and trying and moving step by step towards that. So going to tailored supply chain 2.0 was really to take all these different bricks and putting them together and really making now the sense through the entire supply chain. We basically, after having the segmentation of our customers, we defined, I would say, our 5 supply chain models, buying behavior models. The first one being the collaborative supply chain, where customer is valuing reliability and trust. The second one being the lean supply chain, where the focus is related to cost, related to, I would say, efficiency and ability to be extremely reliable. The number 3 is related to agility. Here we're talking about customers that are in project business, where they are very demanding. There is a lot of unpredictability, and they are expecting speed from us. And the 4th one is related to project. So here I'm really talking very large projects, combining offers coming from different countries, solutions, adapted products, and the need of coordinating all that, staging and combining, I would say, flows coming from different areas. And the last one, the fully flexible, here is to give you the example. We had an earthquake a few years ago, as you all know. The idea is here we are in a crisis mode. How do we, switch our normal sea freight moving to air freight, organizing, I would say, specific roads and supply chain models with our suppliers, with our factories. So these are the 5 supply chain models that have been, organized and structured. How did we use that? So not to repeat, 11 customer segments. So we have been now clarifying that and creating Web Giant being one of our very important segment of customers. Going to the 5 supply chain model, as I was telling you, the collaborative, the lean, agile, and projects, and fully flexible on the bottom. The way we plan, the way we source or manufacture, as well as the way we deliver. These 3, I would say, pillars on carrying the supply chain models. And then in Tailored Supply Chain 2.0, driving 9 key transformations. And the 9 key transformations, I spoke very quickly about the end-to-end lead time projects, the time to market, driving, I would say, new offers, special care units, SIOP and Connexus, which now go, one with the others. I will be spending a bit of time on customer process capabilities to really share with you what was behind that. And today we have been developing around 25 customer process capabilities that are embedded in our systems, that are available to the customers when they place their order, when they send their order to Schneider. The network modeling and the network optimization and transportation optimization, which is another one that I would like also to share with you. And then ETO. ETO is our engineered to order. It's very much related to project supply chain model, and for which we had to spend a lot of time, I would say, to align this tailored approach. Field services supply chain, which is going into the fully flexible approach, and the supplier base management, on which I would say we are entering now, driving the next step of the transformation. So, customer process capability, what are we talking about? So the idea is really to drive the customer delivery experience improvement. And you could see here the customer satisfaction going from 13.5 in 2011 all the way to 40% satisfaction related to delivery, which is really an impressive improvement. Developing and deploying the supply chain capabilities around the world, and I will show you a few examples of those, and digitize the customer delivery experience, creating a digital dashboard, monitoring how we were doing. And today I can say around the world we are running about 74% of all our orders are taken digitally. Whatever we're talking about distributed products, we're talking about engineered products, we're talking about configured products, 74% of every order we are taking is taken digitally. We have about, I would say, covering now 76% of all our deliveries from a track and trace capability. So customers are today able to know at any given point of time where the goods are, when the trucks will be arriving at their gate. So just explaining a little bit, I would say, how the customer process capabilities have been contributing to the customer satisfaction improvement. We've been driving what we called the Customer Experience Council, where supply chain and commercial team and business team sat together on a quarterly basis, sharing the surveys coming from the field. So we were able to identify the net satisfaction scores on delivery by country. We were able then to compare that to the level of dissatisfaction of the customer and zooming on the feedbacks from the customers. So we were able to organize that cycle and really driving the specific action with first week identifying all the feedbacks, second week reading all the verbatims and comments from the customers, driving and visiting customers to understand their pain point, really creating this intimacy. The third step is identifying the root cause and going to close those issues. And here, really having the supply chain logistic VPs inside the region being the leader for this customer improvement, customer experience improvement. Improving the intimacy between the logistic teams and the customers in the country. And driving, I would say, a very passionate activities and sharing between us and customers. So what did we do on that? We really brought the customer into our facilities. Today, across the 200 facilities, the majority of those plants have what we call the customer day. Customers are invited, they come to the factories, we review with them the feedbacks and the problems. We have participation from the country management, we have the participation from the global supply chain, we have the involvement of what we call the customer care centers, and the sales teams. We present what is our supply chain, we let the customers to feel how their product gets produced and how we address their comments. So far we had 9 events welcoming 160 customers. This is one region that's only for Italy. That's an example of what happened in Italy. On the customer visits, so we had customers coming, but we had also our teams going to customers and understanding the business of the customer. You know, I visited many customers in the past 3 or 4 years. I met people manufacturing, you know, tunnel drilling machines. And it's a machine that is 150 meters long, it's 18 meters high, and when you understand that due to one small push button, you are putting at stake a $100 million business, that's where you really understand what's the impact that you're driving. And that's where I would say you have the ability to answer the real need of the customer. This is where we've been able to drive what we call VMI and consignment for some of the OEM. We told them, okay, your business is not to manage inventory. Your business is to manufacture machines. We take the lead and we manage for you the inventory. We put in place that stock, you pull from the stock, we manage the replenishment. I give you an example of one very big construction machine in China. When we started this journey, they were doing basically €1 million business with us. 5 years down the road, they are doing 15 million euro. So we moved from 1 to 15, and they are absolutely delighted by the capability that we offered with them. They don't have to bother. They have everything on the shelves. They pick when they need, and we replenish for them. So those were about the visits on customers. The last one is we meet customers at marketing event. Now supply chain is totally embedded in every marketing event that we're organizing around the world. So we speak about tailored supply chain. We explain what we are doing. We explain the customer process capabilities. And customers are really demanding on these kind of things. They're really appreciating those things because they're also very often industrial people. So they ask us, what is our experience? How did we tackle this or that problem? And it's really creating and adding to this intimacy. We drove a lot of training after those marketing events. We organized trainings on lean manufacturing. We organized trainings on planning that were requested and even paid by some of the customers. So commercial logistic offer, which is one of the very important bricks to succeed, I would say, this tailored supply chain. What's that? The CLO, or customer logistic offer, is really the formalization of our relation on how do we manage end-to-end the deliveries with our customers. The CLO is defining the lead time and defining the logistic capabilities. On one SKU, on one product, when you deliver to a panel builder, your logistic offer will be eventually, 2 days and units of 1. You deliver the same SKU to a distributor, logistic offer will be full pallet load and will become, 5 days lead time. And that's the way we have structured our approach, validated with the sales organization. So going to, I would say, the capabilities. Here are the 15 first capabilities that we have developed across and deployed all across the group. So you could see on verticals is all the segments of customers that we have identified, OEMs, panel builders, system integrators, etc. And on the horizontals, those different menus, as I was explaining earlier, the ability to offer a commercial logistic offer, the ability to define product life cycle, the ability to provide fast track, and customer would tick when they will be placing order to us, they will be ticking, I want a fast track. The ability to do digital order and digital delivery status. The ability to do complete order if the customer needs it. We have the ability to do kitting. So we discovered that many of our customers were requesting, because they generate their own bill of material with our products, and they were requiring to label our products with their part numbers. So we are now able, in our distribution centers, to provide this kind of capability. We are also able to deliver plant to customer, moving away from the very monolithic approach, saying plant delivers to distribution centers, delivers to customers. When the customer requires it, we are able to have the ability to ship directly from the plant, directly to the customer. Last minute change. We have really a lot of customers that are ordering configured products. So they might have a change in their own project at the last minute, and we are offering also this kind of capability. The on-site delivery and precision delivery, which is really on the end user, extremely important. And you will see these are the 15 fundamental capabilities, and we have been adding an additional 10 of them. Like I would say transparent factory. We call that a capability that enables the customer, when they place the order, to also track almost on real time what is the status of their order. Has it been started? Did we do the procurement of the components? Have we completed the manufacturing? Have we shipped out of the plant, even before it gets to the distribution center? So that is what I showed you a little bit earlier. It's just a little bit more visible. As we said, 73% of our orders are now digital. We have track and trace about 32 million lines until Q1 this year. And I would say it represents about 86% of the line we delivered are tracked on a digital way. So now going to I spoke a lot about customer process capabilities. That was the menu that we are offering to the customers. Second is on the work we have done on the network design and network modeling. So the idea was really, how do we go away from the just empiric approach to say, oh, we have more business here, let's put a distribution center. How to make it much more scientific somehow, and being really carried by some analysis and some, I would say, scientific approach. So customer-centric network optimization modeling was really driven by customer research. We launched a very significant amount with somebody you may have heard about, is John Gatorna, who has been involved with us driving those customer surveys, understanding the buying behavior, understanding what was driving customers through the supply chain. And this is where also we had better inputs on the design of our agile, collaborative, lean project and fully flexible supply chain. Network modeling has been, I would say, supporting the capabilities that we have designed here on service level. And also the network optimization promotes, I would say, the transformation and implementation on the different scenarios. So starting from there, we were able to define what if I want to reduce by 1 day my logistic offer. What would it mean in terms of inventory, in terms of cost of logistic? If I would say, look at reducing my transportation cost, what would it impact in terms of service level? And we are now able, for one logistic region, to have those scenarios running. We are able to say, okay, I'd like to have a higher service level, moving from 95.6 to 97. How much inventory do I need to inject into the logistic network? So those are the capabilities that this has been bringing to us, and I will show you what China has done in that field. So I'm going to speed up a little bit. So the example of China, and really going through this tailored supply chain 1.0 and tailored supply chain 2.0, very similar to all the different regions of Schneider Electric. We started with working on the downstream supply chain, working on implementing and formalizing SIOP, driving the implementation of Connexus, pushing, I would say, through a tool we call 1MM, material management, which gives, I would say, the supply chain team full visibility on all the material which is in the pipe. Then driving track and trace, and driving what we call LIME, which is a customer dashboard that I'm going to show you right after. Second step was the focus on the logistics and driving, I would say, Lamasoft, which was the tool chosen to do our network modeling. And as I was saying, you know, really having an intelligent conversation with the business when it comes to, oh, your lead time is not good. Yeah, but okay, if we want a better lead time in the west side of China, what does it mean? I mean, transporting goods from Beijing or from Shanghai all the way to Urumqi is not, you know, something you can do overnight. So do we need an additional distribution center there? What would be the cost? What would be the level of inventory we have to plan there? OTM, so Oracle Transportation Management System, was also deployed during that period of time with the objective to better understand what we were paying for transportation, how we could optimize our routes, and really bringing, again, visibility, digitization, compared to where we were before, paying almost, you know, kind of closing our eyes and paying the bills. We went really to the idea of having, you know, master data, knowing the weight of everything we are shipping, knowing the size of everything we're shipping, understanding, you know, the optimum routes coming out of the tool. So that was part of, I would say, this journey related to logistics. Then on manufacturing, and all these things have been happening more or less in parallel. We have been digitizing, I would say, order management inside the plants. We have been digitizing the lean short interval management processes, driving the Kanban and pull system using manufacturing execution systems, and also investing more focus on quality management using those kind of tools. Then the last steps we see here is managing the relation with our suppliers, the e-reverse auctions, driving vendor forecast communication in a transparent way, connecting what's coming out of our SIOP through Connexus to our suppliers, and also deploying what we call the vendor web portal, where all the information about our inventory, and I know we have been speaking a lot about transparency and digitization. We are giving all the information to our customers. They exactly know the level of inventory we have in every factory, and they are the ones to organize their replenishment within a min and max. And they are the ones also able to, I would say, know all the information related to all the products and parts that they're delivering to us. So the digitization journey on China, so just to tell you, and we were speaking about China being very fast, definitely speed is everything there. And digitization level now, we are around 91%, so almost 9 orders out of 10 are digitally sent to Schneider and digitally pushed through the supply chain. We are talking about more than 2.5 million pages that have been seen in the first half of the year, which in the past were equivalent to phone calls. We were receiving to our customer care centers that amount of phone calls, trying to chase where is the product, when are you going to deliver, why you didn't deliver, et cetera, et cetera. So today, we are able to provide the information at the fingerprint of our customers. Also, just to explain a little bit, we have 12 forwarders that have been totally connected in terms of track and trace and ability to provide this visibility to our customers. So I spoke a little bit about LIME, and LIME stands for Logistics Intelligence Made Easy to Our Customers. So that's a dashboard where our customers can go also online, and they are able to have the information about how much we have been delivering to them, how many orders they placed to Schneider, how many of those orders were complete orders, how many were incomplete orders, and really to have a clear view and every customer is not able to have those kind of information by themselves. So we really digitized this kind of information and giving the ability to access this information directly to them. So really a great tool to establish, I would say, the conversation, discuss about the service level, even compare. I mean, we are measuring ourselves at 96%. Customer says, hey guys, you're at 85. And then that's another dialogue we have with them and understanding where the differences are coming from. Moving a little bit on the end-to-end lead time approach that was also deployed in China, having the track and trace, providing a full delivery visibility to the customer. Customer having just access to the site we call My Schneider Electric, which is on the website, and then I would say 24 hours, 7 days a week, able to know and track every stage of his delivery. And the funny part is that when we started, MES was much more driven by an optimization of our workshop rather than giving visibility to our customer. And finally, we were like, but we have the information. Why don't we give that information to the customer? And we had this discussion with customers. Customers say, wow, that's great. I would really know when you have started my breaker and what is the status of the breaker. And eventually, if I have a last-minute change, I can tell you before you start the manufacturing. And it's opening a totally different era about that. So, and this is the I would say, platform where customer is able to see what we call the transparent plant and accessing information that are on the manufacturing execution system of the company. So Connexus being really a big brick of our transformation. As I was saying, we have now deployed the collaborative sales forecast in Connexus for most of our factories and distribution centers. We are in the process to increase the coverage on demand requirement planning. Plants in China are already managing master production planning within the Connexus, and we have extended the connection towards our supplier, tier 1 supplier, as well as some critical tier 2 suppliers. So on electronic supply chain, we are today able to go all the way to the distribution centers around the world, back to the factories, back to the suppliers tier 1 and suppliers tier 2. Just maybe a point that I forgot here. Why Connexus and why, what's the value added? One of the value added was really the ability to have the visibility across the supply chain. We realized that you may be in shortage in one country and having a huge excess in another country. And that was enabling our teams to instantly reroute the deliveries and having this notion of tower control coming into the picture. And that's where I really would like to share with you that the journey was not like kind of, we were having that final vision and we did everything towards that, but we were really building step by step the different bricks. And as we were building, we were gaining in confidence, we were able to better master what we were doing and seeing the next step. And Connexus was, and SIOP and Connexus were really in that sense. So I'm not going to speak too much, but give you the example of the way we modeled the network in China. And we were able, by kind of putting all our information, we were able to put all the data related to all our customers across the supply chain. We were able to identify all the tonnage and the distances. Then running the system, we were able to understand what was the best, I would say, repartition of our inventories. And going from, I would say, an existing network where we were optimizing rather the service level at the plant level, we moved away to the idea of increasing the availability and developing what we call the local for local, splitting better our inventory in our 4 or 5 distribution centers across China, and really leveraging this tool as a way to do simulations. So I'm running out of time, so I'm going to have to speed up a little bit, but a lot to do also with digitization of our manufacturing. We spoke about robotics yesterday, but even within the information flowing inside the workshop, order management, work instructions, quality data, we are now able to provide to the customer the records related to what we measured on one specific breaker. So we can tell what was the excess energy. We are able to tell what was the dielectrical test directly just by reading the serial number. And those data were available when we started implementing MES, and now we are just connecting the dots. So I'm going to move a bit on that and just maybe going to, oops. Yep. So just on the upstream supply chain and talking with what we are doing with our suppliers. We have started now, I would say, going upstream and replicating what we did with our customers, implementing the same with our suppliers, with the idea going for auctions on everything we are buying from them and having total visibility with our vendors. Second is the web portal, and I mentioned very quickly that point, with the idea that our suppliers have the full visibility, and we are giving them this information. They know about the forecast coming from Connexus injected in our vendor forecast portal. They are able to plan, and basically we are developing now with this tool what we call the VMI and consignment. So most of the factories in China we have, the inventory belongs to our suppliers, and you will tell me why the suppliers did that. But basically, we identified that they were running with 1 month of inventory. We were running with 1 month of inventory. And basically, by giving this transparency and this information to them, we have been able to reduce to almost 17 days the total inventory between them and us. We were able to take away more than a month and a half of stock out of the system by giving this visibility. So that's, I would say, my presentation. Sorry for having been a little bit longer than I was expected. And I hope that this sharing is useful for everybody in the room. Thank you.
So I never let anybody get off the stage without a couple of questions. So I asked my other speakers to give a couple of attributes of your culture.
Well, we have a culture very much focused on, we called it SCOPE, which is straightforward, positive, collaborative, open, and efficient. And I would say, if I summarize it all, I think supply chain people in Schneider are people who are extremely, extremely engaged, extremely passionate about what they're doing.
And if you characterize the Chinese team versus other regions around the world in Schneider, right? How's it different?
Incredibly fast and incredibly open to change. I mean, like a huge appetite for new things. Really, for me, that was striking in the past 10 years.
So if you had to make the digital pivot within Schneider, would your Chinese team make it quicker, or would other regions make it quicker?
I would say Asia, definitely, and particularly China. I think everybody uses, smartphones. You go to every level of the society. Everybody is passionate about shopping online, about ordering taxi online, and doing everything. And when we started the journey saying, okay, we want to do MES, people were absolutely delighted, excited, and we have now, idea generation. People are just scanning, workers in the workshop, they're scanning barcode and then entering their ideas, which automatic post inside our short interval management tools.
So much more rapid adoption.
Yeah, yeah.
And then if you think about talent, because that's what we're talking about this morning, what are the talent challenges of China versus the rest of the world for Schneider?
Well, I mean, China is very dynamic. I think everybody in this room would know that. I think the challenge would be making sure that we are feeding our teams in China so that they keep the motivation, staying in the company, developing inside the company, and building up the, I would say, expertise and experience.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks.